So today what I wanted to talk about is taking your business through many cyclical turns. Now, if you've been running your business for any length of time, you've probably noticed that there's certain periods of time when you have more customers, there's certain periods of time where consumers are interested in certain kinds of services, and periods when they're not as. It may be depend on the season of the year, whether it's during the summer or when their kids are home and not at school, or it could be something about during the end of the year towards the beginning of the year people become more interested in certain kinds of services and certain kinds of product. So if you've been doing what the kind of business you do for any length of time, you've probably noticed these cyclical patterns. And if you are wise in the way you do business, then you've probably learned to adjust and accommodate for any sort of downturns, any kind of periods of time when things are not as flourishing as they normally are. So you save during those time periods, or you just implement other measures to make sure that things keep running smoothly as they should. So essentially that's sort of the name of the game. If you go through cycles that you can predict, then you plan for them, you save for those time periods, you pull back on certain supplies or certain things that you don't need as much of. You basically essentially go through a time period of knowing that things are not going to be as rosy and as flourishing as they are during other times, and you compensate so that everything just goes smoothly and you go over it just as if it were perfect as what you wanted it to be. So but if you go through a cyclical period that you don't expect, then what are you going to do? How do you handle that? Well, in any case, say for example you have different facets of your business that have different ways of reaching the consumer, say for face-to-face versus online versus just a variety of ways that you reach the end user. If one facet of reaching the end user becomes more difficult, or if that's the portion that faces a downturn or faces challenges, then you want to implement the other, focus more on the other, and put more resources towards the other, and allow that to be sort of the main facet that you focus on for that time period. And another thing could be that maybe there's another leg to what it is you do that doesn't rely on the same mechanisms that one leg of your business does altogether. It just has a totally different, manner of working and manner of supplying services that may be the same as the other services you supply, or maybe completely different. That's another thing you want to take advantage of. So basically it's kind of, you look at what you have left and what is possible, and you take advantage of other things that during flourishing periods are not as emphasized. You emphasize those more because those may be what you have to rely on, and those may be what will be the growth possibility that you have to work with, and you focus on that and you work with that. If you've ever been through any downturns, for example, 2008, during the recession back then, maybe you can look back at that time period, any time period, and really kind of draw from that experience what is the best way to handle, even if you didn't handle it well then, what do you wish you had done then? Because whatever you wish you had done then that would have made that time period more manageable may be what you should do in another time period that kind of poses the same or a similar problematic situation. So you want to just basically, explore all the resources that you have left, what you have to work with, and how to sort of milk that for the most that it can be for that time period. And also other legs of your business that you don't normally emphasize may have to be emphasized. And it really, you never know, maybe an opportunity to grow an aspect of your business that you didn't even think to grow before because it wasn't really your focus, but now it's forced to be. Another thing that you may want to do is just implement training. There's so many things that you may have been meaning to learn about, or have your employees or others learn about, and there was no time for that before because you were so busy kind of taking care of the day-to-day activities of running the business that was moving. And so now that if you go through a time period where it's not moving, that's an opportunity for you to kind of pull back and really do some housekeeping in that sense, in the training facet, in the just managing anything that might have gone wrong that needed fixing and needed working on. So just kind of pull back and fix the needed issues. Sometimes that's an opportunity to do that. So in essence, I mean, everything is cyclical. Life is cyclical, right? So, things move along, they move forward eventually, and whatever, you know, downturn or adverse situation is being experienced can't possibly last forever. So, you have to figure out a way to move through it and await what's on the other side of it while maintaining enthusiasm and, keeping the faith and keeping going. That's it. Thank you.